Bibliophiles of the internet, my name's Adriana, and today I'm here to bring you my fourth quarter book haul, aka the last book haul of 2018. I'm not going to get many more chances to say 2018 here in the year of our Lord 2018, so I just had to say it. As you all know, I haul my books quarterly, which means I only do this every 3 months, and this will account for all the books I picked up in October, November, and December, so let's cut straight to the footage and get into it. First up, I have The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This is a sequel/companion of sorts to The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which you should all know is one of my favorite audiobooks. The brand of this companion series, so to speak, is fun, rompy, queer historical fiction, and that's everything I need in life. The first book was about Monty, but this book follows his sister, Felicity, who wants to study medicine and become a doctor. But obviously, as a woman during this time, there's no easy or acceptable way to accomplish that. But Felicity is determined to make this happen no matter what, even if she has to scheme her way across all of Europe to do it. And also she identifies as Ace. Then we have a long-standing pre-order, which was Blanca Iroha by Anna Marie McLemore. As always, Anna Marie McLemore writes Own Voices, Queer Latinx Magical Realism, and in doing so brings me a deep sense of purpose. This is about two sisters, Blanca and Roja, who are haunted by a family curse. It's been proven over the generations that one sister will turn into a swan, but they don't know when and they don't know which one of them it'll be until it happens. So they're caught between trying to prove themselves worthy of their own existence while also trying to protect the person they love the most. I talked about this amazing book in depth in my October wrap-up, so I encourage you to go watch that if you want to know my thoughts. Then we have another book I read and reviewed in October, and that was Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Machado. This is an Own Voices Queer Latinx collection of super creepy, fucked up short stories. It's a collection that centers the commonplace violences women deal with on a day-to-day basis. And Machado does such a good job of writing a very knowable world that is warped by a pervasive sense of wrongness. Next, I picked up This Accident of Being Lost by Misaki Simpson, which I actually just talked about in my November wrap-up. This is Own Voices Native Lit. It's a collection of flash fiction pieces, poetry, and songs. In this collection, Simpson uses her incredibly clever, distinctive voice to explore how challenging it is to feel connected with Native heritage in pervasively white spaces, what it feels like to adhere to a culture that is not yours. And she does it in both hilarious and thought-provoking ways. I just really love what she accomplishes in this book. Then I had also pre-ordered The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. This past year, I fell in love with The Wedding Date, which I have actually recommended to literally everyone in my life. This is a companion novel that takes place during/after the events of that book. And it's about my literal favorite Latinx former supporting superhero, Carlos. Finally, he is the main character of this book. It all begins with a public proposal at a baseball game gone very wrong, which means the girlfriend involved, Nicole, has to face down a stadium of disappointed fans. Carlos is also at the game, and he comes to Nicole's rescue by helping her escape the questions and the cameras. And from there they embark on what I presume is a fun, steamy romantic rebound that will inevitably turn into something more than they expect. Then after watching a book haul from my lovely friend Matthew Sharapa, I was reminded to go out and get myself a copy of Crush by Svetlana Chmakova. This is an all-ages graphic novel set in the same middle school as Awkward and Brave. This story follows Jorge, who's a bigger guy, which means no one really messes with him, but he's actually just genuinely sensitive and sweet. When he starts seriously crushing on someone new, he will have to learn to balance what his friends expect of him versus what he really wants. Then after freaking loving the ebook, I got a physical copy of Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. I actually made an entire 5 reasons to read video about this book, and I will link that down below so you can check it out. This is an Own Voices native post-apocalyptic urban fantasy about a Dene monster hunter named Maggie, who is the wielder of some pretty incredible clan powers. In the span of a moment, she can see a million different ways to dispatch her enemies, and she becomes impossibly fast. She is commissioned to hunt a monster that should not exist, and this hunt only leads her to some very dangerous questions. Then I have another standout from November, which was Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones. This is an Own Voices native novella that spins the creepy tale of a young boy who sees a mysterious figure passing through a doorway in his house. And for whatever reason, he is absolutely convinced that it's his late father's spirit. So he begins mapping an outline of every room in the house and experimenting with how he can confront this spirit, but he is exposing his family to danger in the process. then you know like a year in advance I had pre-ordered my copy of How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. This is a short story collection from the 3-time Hugo Award-winning SFF powerhouse N.K. Jemisin, which means you know it's gonna be great. There's stories about a utopian society observing our world and learning from our mistakes, a story about angry spirits haunting New Orleans after Katrina, about a mother in the Jim Crow South trying to save her child from the Fae and their impossible promises. And as always, her stories explicitly center Black characters. Then they were having a Black Friday sale at Book Outlet, and I got 3 books from that. First, I got volumes 2 and 3 of Dream and Sun by Takano Ishigo, who is the mangaka best known for writing Orange, one of my favorite series. This story is about a young girl who doesn't really feel like she has a place in her own family. Her mother passed away and her father recently remarried, and now there's a new child in the house. So one day she skips school and runs away, and she runs into a mysterious, zany landlord who says he will give her a place to stay if she can fulfill 3 conditions. She has to tell him why she ran away, help him find the key to his apartment, and she must have a dream for herself. And I also finally got Wild Beauty by Anna Marie McLemore. Again, this is Own Voices queer Latinx magical realism about the No Me Olvides women who tend the gardens of an estate known as La Pradera, where they guard the secret of their magic. They all have the ability to spontaneously grow plants and flowers from their bodies, which is what makes La Pradera the safest place for them to exist. It's also said that their family is cursed, and that if they fall in love, that person will vanish. Then I got a poetry collection that I hope to read very soon, and that is Tesoro by Jessica Salgado. This is from the same poet who wrote Corazon, which is one of my favorite poetry collections. Jessica Salgado writes in a way that feels familiar and approachable while still being very deliberate. According to the synopsis, Tesoro tells the story of family, survival, and the formative power of women in the poet's life. Then on opening day, I went to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I have literally not cared about anything else since. And that's why I immediately bought Miles Morales by Jason Reynolds. Now obviously this is not the same exact Miles as in the movie, but it's the same concept. Here we have an Afro-Latinx boy named Miles who is just coming into his powers as Spider-Man, but lately his spidey sense has been on the fritz. Plus, he was also recently suspended from school, which makes him think about how his dad and his uncle both have criminal records and how maybe he should just focus on saving himself. And lastly, I have 2 books I actually won in a giveaway on Instagram, so a huge thank you and shout out to Lupita from Lupita Reads and Pantheon Books for sending along the first 2 volumes of My Brother's Husband by Tagame Gengaro. First of all, this is a hardcover manga series, which is unprecedented in so many ways, and both of these volumes are freaking gorgeous. This is a queer manga series about 2 widowers. One is Yaichi, who is a stay-at-home dad living in Tokyo whose spouse passed away, leaving him to raise their daughter by himself. Their lives change when a burly Canadian man shows up on their doorstep and claims to be the widower of Yaichi's estranged gay twin, Ryoji. And basically Yaichi and his daughter take him in as he embarks on a journey to better understand Ryoji's culture and his past. So those are all the books I've collected over the past few months. Obviously I've read a majority of these, but in the comments let me know which of these you would like to see me read first. But that's everything I had for this book haul today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the flip side of the page. Bye!